Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Hair Healer Podcast, the Weekly Awakening. I cannot believe that this is my fifth one of these I made, maybe fourth one. I cannot remember, but either way, I'm starting to definitely getting to the flow of it, if you cannot tell, and not nervous and just doing this whole talking thing by myself, not doing it in interview form. It's definitely a lot of fun and I'm loving it, and also getting a lot of good feedback from everyone. So thank you for those of you that have messaged, have listened, to tell me what you liked about this, how the astrology or the weekly awakenings in my own life have helped you in your personal life. So thank you again for reaching out. Again, whatever you're listening to this on, please rate, review, subscribe, send this to someone you know. That's the best way you can help me right now. If you want to be on the show, if you want to, suggest something, is there something you want me to talk about, email me, thehairhealerpodcast@yahoo.com. Please join the Facebook group, The Hair Healer Podcast Facebook, as well as follow me on Instagram at thehairhealer1111. How is everyone feeling? The big news we're going to start out with is Mercury moved direct. Can you feel it in your life? I can feel it in my life. Are things starting to make sense? Is your own mind starting to make sense? Are, things not going haywire and crazy in communication? Because I really can feel it. I think on last week's episode, I was saying about how Mercury retrograde has not, I didn't feel it that heavy, but I guess with this retrograde, I felt it very heavy mentally. And again, as Mercury ruled, I will always feel it because that's what it rules mentally. And my shifts and my changes in life and my growing in life is going to happen during the retrograde time. But a lot of times there's a lot more outside circumstances. And I would say those didn't happen that much during this time. So I'm kind of grateful, whether it's because I've been doing a lot more in my house. I don't know what it is, but I didn't have too many technology breakdowns or anything like that. But last week, out of nowhere, it was when Saturn was squared Uranus. I had one of the things that happens, and that energy followed for a few days, generally is, kind of repercussions. Things coming out of nowhere. Was a Mercury squared it might have been Mercury squared Uranus. I can't even remember now. But either way, there were repercussions that can come out of nowhere that you didn't even expect to come. And I was on the phone with someone that was important in my life last week, and they were like, oh shit, out of the blue, like this happened, this repercussion that is coming back into my life for something that I did 6 months ago, right? For every action, there's a equal reaction. And now I got to take care of it. And this really changes the person's life in a way. It's really like significantly moving, and it's sort of in a way kind of affects my life. Not in a bad way, right? The way I look at things is, hey, guess what? Now we just take this and move forward. How do we make this work? How do we figure this out? Let's just not worry. Let's take one day at a time. And that was a big thing. And then something else again happened with my health. It's so crazy since Saturn and Jupiter have moved into my house of health. And that got me started, right? This final thing that happened to my health really was like, okay, Colleen, where are you aligning? Who are you aligning with? What are you aligning? Right now, I think I got, after Mars retrograde, I think wintertime, things just got so confused. I got confused. Things got crazy and I wasn't taking care of myself. And all of a sudden I just woke up and I was like, I'm doing a 30-day serious cleanse. I'm working out every day in one shape or, one form or another. I'm cutting out all candy, all soda, cutting back my meat intake. I was, 70% vegan for the last few years, cutting that out, meditating every day, writing every day, my affirmations every day, praying every day, basically the things we're supposed to be doing, especially if you're walking a spiritual path. But life gets in the way. And sometimes, even though that meditation or that prayer really only takes a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, it can be very hard to stop what you're doing and focus on to that, right? Because it doesn't give us an instant result, really. It's a long-term result that it gives us. And sometimes we want to feel the fast result, if that makes sense. So I'm 4 days in and I've been very good. I've been eating extremely healthy. This is the most committed. I haven't cheated. I cheat on all of that stuff. I do anything. One day I'm like, oh, I'm just going to eat that candy or this candy. No, I'm serious because I have dreams and I felt stuck. And I was like, how committed am I to myself, to my health, to my spirituality? If I want these dreams where I help other people with that, where I help the world with that, well, I better get that aligned to myself first, right? And show how committed I am to myself before the universe shows me how committed, before it gives me something else that I have to be really, 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 really committed to, if that makes sense. So I'm doing that right now. I'm doing this cleanse. Will follow me the next 30 days, see how it's going. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I do smoke a little bit of ganja, which I've talked about after spent many years not doing that. And I felt like I was smoking too much of that. And it was not helping me anymore, right? Medical marijuana was really, it was not. It was taking me to a whole other direction. So I sort of gathered myself under and I'm like, okay, we are doing those things. And that happened after Mercury retrograde. And also like the career, I think I talked about with Mercury retrograde, like so confused, which direction, what way to go, this, blah, 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 blah. And then it's all like the last 3 days, it's all kind of worked out. I don't know, in my head, again, like the awareness thoughts, like all of a sudden that mix up that was happening because of Mercury in my mind, all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is the work path. This is all making sense. So if you're still, that's in general, just to know, and we follow cycles with astrology. We follow astrology through cycles. Sorry, I messed it all up and I totally forgot what I was going to say with that. But that is what's happening. So things in your life should be moving a little bit smoother again. We survived this retrograde. We're going to have new downloads, new messages, new paths, new journeys now, right? So things should be starting to make a little more sense. Sorry, I had to take a little deep breath there. So that was kind of crazy. Not too much, just a little life switch around. Look, I got my computer with my chart and everything pulled up here, and I have to have my notes. That's something I cannot let go of. I'm like a very handwritten note person. I still do all my scheduling on a handwritten book. I hate doing stuff for my ADHD. Doing it on the phone just seems way too much for me. Like it just seems harder than it does to physically sit and write on these papers. Some people don't agree with that, but that's what's happening. So let's jump into this full moon that's happening on Saturday in Virgo, Mercury sign. Okay. So with the full moon, we work on letting go. What are we letting go of? Things are coming, right? Things are illuminating during the full moon, bringing out, depending on where the moon is, what sign, things that we need to let go of, that we need to learn, highlighting our emotions, highlighting our instincts. So seeing this is going to be tied into this Mercury retrograde cycle that we just went through, right? Because now Mercury, again, is rules Virgo and Gemini. So we're coming out of this Mercury retrograde. We're still in the post shadow period. So and now it's like, okay, so what happened during this Mercury retrograde time? Okay. What was illuminated for you? The good, the bad, the ugly. What didn't you like that happened to you, that was surrounded by you, that you found out about yourself, or something you want to let go of? Write that down. Remove that, pray, do whatever you do for the full moon ritual. If you need some ideas, I talk about them during this, but please reach out to me, email me, follow my Instagram, my TikTok at the healer 1111. I do a lot more on that too, with talking about actual rituals, but focus whatever you do, your affirmations, your rituals, your intentions, right, on what came up during this Mercury retrograde for you. Particularly, even emotions, things that are coming up now, because it's going to be opposite Venus in Pisces. So we'll get into that. That's a whole other thing. So yes, full moon in Virgo on Saturday. Things are coming. There still might be just a little tinge of Mercury retrograde with this full moon illuminating, right? Whether, something that might happen. This just came to me too. I don't know why I'm going to say this, but let's say you got to give a idea. You got into a fight with someone, right? A friend, a coworker, some sort of disagreement, argument. Doesn't have to be major, but there's still not clarifying. There's not correct communications. This full moon may bring some clear communication, right? In a pretty big way, or, it could bring a big illuminating, like some sort of event, fight, something to sort of clear the final air, right? And that could be in all Mercury ruled things, travel, work, communication, any of those. So that's one thing to pay attention to. So this is now, with the full moon, I wrote this down, especially being opposite Venus and Pisces, each level of evolution leads to a new level of joy. Venus rules joy and an evolution of the mind, right? Mercury brings a new level of joy. So remember that when you're going through these hard times, when you're fighting through these times, there's going to be a new level of joy coming for you on that opposite side of this evolution, so keep evolving your soul, and all those other beautiful things reach new levels too, reach the new level of your soul, and you're going to reach the new level of love, of joy, of happiness, of peace, of contentment, whatever you're searching for. So remember that when you're doing that hard shadow work. That's very important to remember. Also with this, there's, especially with Venus and Pisces being opposite Pisces, there's going to be emotional, massive cleansing, which happens. It is a full moon thing, but sometimes way more intensely. So, and also maybe fighting, I would feel like fighting between the emotional and the logical thinking, right? And I'm always, oh my God. Let me just tell you one thing I found out about myself, because I'm constantly fighting between those two things, is that I romanticize people's potential way too much. I had this crazy awareness thought this week, and I was like, even though I know I've done it, therapists have told me in different ways I do it, maybe not in the exact wording, but I see people. I'm a shadow worker. I work with people. I see people exactly for who they are, the good, bad, and the ugly. I see their energy. I see their child. And so I tend to go past all of the other stuff, and I see, oh, here's their potential. Here's what I know that they can evolve to. Here's what I know that they can do. And I start to romanticize that. And again, I do that with friends, relationships, whatever, people that come into my life. And here is how that's going to happen. But guess what? That's not reality. That's false, right? That's not this moment. And that's projecting something onto someone, that they don't even know, right? You can't make someone see what they don't want to see, what they're not willing to see themselves. You certainly aren't going to make them see that. I can promise you that. And I know that kind of sucks, but you will not make them see that. So, that is one of the messages coming up right now. Do stop romanticizing someone's potential. Stop it. Right? Romanticize their potential when they're actually showing up to their potential. When they show up and say, this is who I am, this is who I'm becoming, this is who I know I can become, then romanticize that. But don't just in your head because you see them. They don't see themselves the way you see them. So again, I say these messages and half the times because I need to hear that myself, but that's a big thing I think that will be coming up with that. Now we have Venus moving into Pisces, and when Venus is in Pisces, it's exalted. Things are better. Think about Venus ruled things, right? We instantly go to love, but not just love, right? Love, sisters, friends, creative projects, joy, pleasures, the things that sort of make us happy, right? And they've been a little bit drowned, I think, especially being in the cold signs of Saturn from Capricorn to Aquarius, now into Pisces. All of a sudden it's being lifted up. So imagine things are going to be, the next couple weeks. Oh, okay. Venus is there. Like things are going to be working out beneficially. What word? Beneficially? Beneficially. Yeah. Beneficially for that, right? Come working in your way, in your favor. Things are going to be good and coming in bigger waves. I made this joke on TikTok because Venus is now moving into my house of marriage. And I said, during this time, I might meet my next future ex-husband. Now, I always joke about that. I do hope whoever I marry next is forever or at least 30 years. I have Mars in my house of marriage, so that is always going to be one of my, or was and will be, it definitely was one of the karma things I brought into this lifetime. And then post Saturn return, something that I'm going to be struggling with and learning. Again, I think I learned so much my first 32 years from all of that now I know how to work with it. That's why we get awareness with these planets in our lives. So we can say, oh, that's happening. This is why it's happening. That's why it's attracting. So let me now, work on that and evolve, and figure out how I can change or take the correct steps to work with it instead of against it. But even my dad was married 4 times. I just watched all these crazy relationships. So it's a way that I think I deflect. I joke about that. But it'll be interested to see how that plays out with that. So look at your chart, see where Pisces is, what whole sign house rules Pisces. And also, if you're listening to this, I just want to let you know I'm now doing astrology birth charts, and energy healing, and doing sort of healing sessions virtually using both, just like my energy talents, and then doing the astrology. So please reach out. You can email me, the Hair Healer Podcast, yahoo.com, or go to my website, www.hairhealer.com. I just realized I don't think I've ever talked about that on here. I'm like, oh shit, I do have a website. I forgot with season 2. Season 1, I did have a website. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I do have a website. So So those are some things that are really coming in. I think it's going to be, I can feel up here. We had some nice days this week, and we're moving towards a new beginning. We're now moving towards the light. It's been a dark winter. It was one of the darkest winters on hand, just in general, but we must remember, especially as we go through these last few weeks of coldness. My teacher said the other day, yin part of the year. And I always said I actually love winter, even though I hate it. It's the only time I allow myself to go inward and do the work, right? And just sit and be with myself. Oftentimes people that hate winter can't sit with themselves. And so there's such an important part to our evolution in life, and just like other species that do this, like to go inward, not in our house, not only in our house, but into our souls during this time. So believe it or not, we only have a few more weeks really left of darkness, maybe 3 or 4 more weeks left. So take these next 3 or 4 weeks and cherish them. Enjoy them. Enjoy this alone time with yourself, with your family. Figure out, damn it, I forgot to turn off the heater. Figure out how, what's the last little bit of things that you really need to focus or work on or just be with before we move into sunshine and light. Because once it starts getting light out, and I think it's going to be much freer than last summer a little bit, things are, then all of a sudden we don't have time to quite, write and look at ourselves and do all the things we said because we're busy just being outside and living life and doing all of that. So appreciate this time, because remember, we're not going to, if we didn't have this darkness, we would not be appreciating the light and the beautiful summer as much, as we would. So it's all about our thinking. How can you turn whatever these next 3 weeks, that sort of last run until we get to spring, like how can you turn into something beautiful? What can you learn about yourself? What can you evolve in yourself? How can you make that shift? I cannot believe, can we just say real quick, how the hell has it been almost a year of COVID? Like, this is where my life is, and then I'll end it and I'll say where it was. A year ago, I started the Hair Healer podcast. I think I'd recorded by that point maybe 15 episodes at the salon with my clients about their healing journey, and I was just on a roll, and I was working and doing hair and everything. And I remember the last episode with my client Alan. It was the Friday before that, whatever the lockdown was, the 14th of March. And I said, what? They're not shutting down this country. What are you talking about? They're not shutting down. What? Like such a sense of false security in general. Like I think a lot of Americans had like we're this country in the world that nothing bad ever happens. Like everything will be taken care of. We don't have to worry. And it was like, oh wait, things can happen. And then it shut down. And I remember leaving the salon, Capriati Salon, and I turned around and I looked at the door as it closed behind me, and something said to me, you're never coming back, and your entire life is going to be different by the time this pandemic ends. And I was like, what? I'll be back. And I remember like looking and then saying into myself, well, no, I'll be back in 2 weeks. What are you talking about? And here we are a year later. I never went back to the salon. I built, the podcast has come this far. I'm now, adding to my services, the astrology, the healing, all of that stuff. And so much, I got divorced. I mean, so much has happened and changed. And it's been such a complex year, right? I've changed, I evolved. There was so many dark times, yet so many beautiful times, and so many confusing times, yet going and moving through this wave of change and growth while the entire country is, while the entire world is. And it's just been a wild ride. It's been a while. Everyone knows. I mean, you guys have all been present for the last year. It's not just me here. It's been a wild ride. I can't believe. So wherever you are in life right now, to practice some gratitude for and say to yourself, I did a good job. You did a good job. You just made it through the fucking craziest year of most people's lives. My clients that are all older, like 70s and up, I've asked them, I said, have you ever seen a crazier time since you have been alive? They have all said, no, I have not seen a crazier time than I've been alive. So you have made it this far, right? You've gotten this far during a damn pandemic when the entire life, the whole world's changing. You survived and you made an entire year to this point. Be proud of yourself. Be happy. Celebrate that and practice gratitude. And I'll leave you with this message because I've been really, really practicing it a lot with my children and my life and everything. And the universe does not reward you unless you are grateful for what you have. Practice grateful. Every day I lay with my kids at night and we practice. We're grateful that we have a house. I'm grateful I have food. I'm grateful that right now my bills are all being paid. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. Stay in that state of gratitude. If you want to get out of yourself, if you're feeling not well, be grateful, because someone else out there has way, 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 way less than you do. I was telling my kids the other day, because they were talking about what they wanted for their birthdays and want. And I said, okay, well, I want you to tell me now what you love that you already have. I want to hear all of that. What do you love that you currently have? And Remy said, you know what I love, Mom? I love your face. I was like, oh my God, shut up. Why are you me? He is so me. And Abram's my dad. He yells at me for everything. The other day, okay, this is the last story, and then we'll end it. But I think you guys will appreciate this. It's a little, so I'm ruled by Mercury, okay? A lot of planets. And so Mercury likes to bend the rules, break the rules. Mercury goes back and forth between following rules and not following rules. So I'm just instantly a natural rule breaker. I feel like rules are there so people don't go too far. That's what I think. So Abram is all ruled by Saturn, very, very Saturn ruled. And so they make the rules. They hold on to the rules. They restrict things. And I was driving around. Oh, no, that's a whole different Saturn story. I take my kids swimming at the YMCA on Sundays, sometimes Mondays. And Abram usually has the yellow band and Remy has the red. And there's someone new working, and apparently in the system it was red. And I was like, okay, whatever, just give him the red. And we go in, and Abram's like, I can't believe I have the red. And I said, well, when we go into the swimming part, I'll just give you a yellow, because they have them just sitting there. And he was like, well, but you're not allowed. And I was like, yeah, it's okay, Abram. No, like I'm with you, and you swim yellow, so I'll just grab you a yellow. And he's like, but you're not allowed. Like, you can't do that. That's not the rules. You're breaking the rules. And I was like, okay, but she's not going to know. And then I said, all right, so yes, you are very correct. We do not break the rules like that. What do you feel comfortable with? Because I'm not going to force you. I said that. He said, I want to wear the red band. I don't want to break the rule. And I said, okay, wear the red band. And he was satisfied, put that red band. And I was just like, in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that I was just so nonchalant. Like, just get the yellow. It's fine. Like, let's just break these rules. And my own son, my 7-year-old, was like, no, we cannot break these rules. And that is very Mercury and Saturn together, if I do not ever say. So he's definitely, as I've said, helped me grow up in many ways. And he is my father. Remy acts like my father, but Abram really is wants to be my dad in that way, like control me in those sort of ways. So it's sort of funny. All right, let's end this episode. Thank you. I hope everyone has enjoyed the weekly awakening, my weekly awakenings. This is really fun. I love it. Please rate, review, subscribe. Comment, tell me what you loved about this, what you want to hear more of, anything. Thank you. I hope and don't forget, email thehairhealerpodcast@yahoo.com if you want to be on the show, if you want an astrology reading, anything like that. If you just want me to talk about, please email me, follow me, Instagram @thehairhealer1111, Facebook, The Hair Healer Facebook page. Thank you, everyone. I love you all, and have a fabulous week.